Hello, everybody. We be live.
Hello.
Look at this. People are already telling us where they're watching from
They know what time it
without
is.
me even asking. Yes, they know. So Space Lia is saying hello from Sweden. Drusilla saying hey. Okay, Nico saying from Germany. Zaid is watching from Jordan. Guys, keep telling us where you're watching from. Thank you so much. I usually have to ask, but now you guys are doing it just by yourself. It's amazing.
Hey, and
So-
Terrell's is here, our local Dane. Thank goodness, because I was thinking about him. I was like, we need a Dane to give us the lowdown about what's happening.
Right. Yeah, Erkin from Izmir, random guy from USA. Again, I'm not calling him a random guy. That's the username. Angry from New York. Hala from Israel. Oh, Soha is confirming that audio is good. Kenny from Belgium. Hammers from USA, and Bull from South Carolina. And oh, there! Look at this. Harith Muhammad from Iraq. Fantastic. So, guys, it's not just our audience that is global, it's our news that is global as well. We're going to be covering a couple of news items that is religion related from all across the world. Which countries are we covering today, Susie? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, that's weird. I said Denmark, the US, France, and Iran.
Oh, Iran. Nice. Okay. So this first news, I think you're going to spend a little bit of time focusing in the first one, aren't you?
Susanna's got some things to say.
All right, guys. This is going to be a juicy one today, Susie.
This is going to be a juicy one.
All right. So,
Zaid is saying, why is Susanna looking like an absolute snack today? Habibi, stop.
Okay. Ready to get controversial?
Can I just say that it's been really wholesome, because we have one of our community members that joined us in Israel who literally reached out to me personally to connect him or them to Zaid, who's a Palestinian in Jordan. And it's just like so sweet. Like the friendships are so sweet.
Nice.
And when I made the connection, they were like, this makes me feel really good about the community. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
You know, as religion divides us, maybe atheism can bring us back together again. Right? Yes.
That reminds me of how we've literally connected people in India and Pakistan together.
Yes, we did India and Pakistan, and now we're connecting Palestinians and Israelis, which is great. Yes, exactly. And Iranians and Israelis. We have done that as well. Yeah. So, can we clap for this first news?
I mean, I freaking hate this, but we're going to clap because just we're excited to be here. And also, I'm probably going to go off. So if you're a fan of Susanna going off and getting spicy,
right,
freaking buckle
we're about
up.
to get. We're about to get canceled everywhere.
It wouldn't be anything that hasn't happened before.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. We got a super chat.
Susanna is being an auntie who arranges marriages. That's right.
And look, we also got a super chat from Why Is It, which is thank you so much for the super chat.
Oh, thank you.
Or a super sticker. But it's also a reminder that we will be reading all your super chats and super stickers in between each news item. So if you would like to support us that way, or if you would like just your message to be heard between our news items, you can support us with the super chats. Anyway, so let's go get to the first news. So I'm going to be clapping because nobody died. Yes.
Yeah, true.
Again, nobody was tortured, nobody was abused, and nobody was killed or tortured. So that would make it clappable. Right?
These are our standards.
Yeah. All right. First news.
First news. Has Denmark fallen to Islamism? Danish parliament bans Quran burnings. Denmark's recent legislative move to ban Quran burnings has garnered attention in the wake of widespread protests and security concerns stemming from previous incidents in Denmark and neighboring Sweden. The bill, passed on December 7th with 94 votes in favor, prohibits the public mistreatment of holy texts, including the Quran, with penalties ranging from fines to a maximum of 2 years in prison. The Danish Ministry of Justice stated that the aim is to counter the perceived quote-unquote systematic mockery contributing to escalating terrorism threats. Notably, the bill has its critics, including Inger Støjberg, leader of the Denmark Democrats Party, who expressed concern about the impact on freedom of speech. Støjberg's quote said, quote, "History will judge us harshly for this, and for good reason. What it all comes down to is whether a restriction on freedom of speech is determined by us or whether it is dictated from the outside," highlighting the debate about balancing freedom of expression with national security. Critics argue that such restrictions might undermine hard-won liberal freedoms, while Denmark's ruling centrist coalition maintains that the bill will have an only marginal impact on freedom of speech. Meanwhile, Sweden is also exploring a different approach to addressing Quran burnings while safeguarding freedom of expression, considering the possibility of allowing the Swedish police to reject protest applications based on national security. So, here's the situation. For those who are not familiar, I'll give you some background. So this summer, there was a series of Quran burnings that happened, and they were really kicked off originally in Sweden, actually by an Iraqi refugee in Sweden named Salwan Momika. And Armin, do you remember if he's actually ex-Muslim or not? I know that he's very critical of Islam. He's very outspoken against Islam.
He was never a Muslim. He was Christian.
Okay.
He was so he used to be part of some Islamic radical militia groups in Iraq, but as a Christian, not as a Muslim.
Yeah. So he has his own history. And then that sparked a lot of burnings happening in Denmark. And then there was a quote that said that there were 493 Quran burnings in Denmark, since July. That's crazy. This caused massive protests. This caused people to boycott Sweden and Denmark across the Islamic world. This even caused people to storm the Green Zone in Baghdad and set the Danish embassy on fire. Let's be clear. This happened only a few months ago, guys. I don't know if anyone forgot. I didn't. So ever since then, the Danish parliament has been having these discussions about how do we deal with this issue. And their answer to this problem is to curtail the freedom of expression of their own citizens because of threats from people that want to kill them for this action abroad. And this is deplorable to me. It's absolutely deplorable. Now, apparently, this version of the bill that passes the Danish parliament, it needs to be signed by the Queen. It's expected to be signed by the Queen next month. Apparently, this version of the bill, somehow they edited it to have less severe implications on the freedom of speech, allegedly. Personally, that's unacceptable to me, regardless. I don't care. Because here's the situation. I saw a quote, and I don't know if the exact numbers are accurate. So let's just take the spirit of this quote, which was, it took Denmark 600 years to repeal blasphemy laws. And 6 years of bullying to put them back on the books. That's how easily hard-won freedoms will be rolled back. It's deplorable, shameful, and embarrassing. And that politician is right. Denmark will be judged harshly for this. Because those of us who are interested in this issue, familiar with this space, will remember that it was really the Danish cartoon incidents in 2006 that kicked off international awareness of the blasphemy taboo. People died for that. People died for that in 2006. And Denmark stood firm. Denmark stood very firm. And really, in many ways, that set the stage for the rest of the world and how they moved forward when it came to incidents of blasphemy taboo. Standing firm, not apologizing for our own hard-won rights. You can have your own personal opinions about the quality or content of anything deemed so-called blasphemous. Many politicians would be like, yeah, personally, I don't like this, but I'm standing firm in not apologizing for the fact that we have people in our country doing this. That's their right. That's part of what they are guaranteed as their contract with us as a state. Social contract, right? This is part of the agreement. This is in our Constitution. Well, maybe not Constitution. Not all these places are constitutional. Let's be clear. You know what I'm saying. And this is such a dangerous precedent. And this is going to be held up as an example around the world for the people who are going to push harder for this to go further. You do not give Islamists an inch. They will take a mile. Because what people fail to understand is when you are dealing with the nature of person, specifically Islamists, who are going to threaten you with violence, death, and torture for cartoons, one, we need to be clear that there is no moral equivalence between drawing a cartoon or saying something that's offensive and murdering someone over it, for terrorizing a society over it. There is no moral equivalence. So, like, let's just get that out of the way for people who have the wool pulled over their eyes. It's freaking embarrassing. Second, this is going to be held up as an example of, look it, this tactic works. This tactic works. Let's keep going. Let's push for this harder. They will stand down. Look, even they know that this is wrong. Even they know that this is wrong. So when they're dealing with people within their own countries, within their own communities, who are trying to speak up and criticize Islam, just criticize, not even mock. They're going to say, and we see this all the time in examples in Iran. Look at, even the Westerners understand that this is unacceptable. Even the Westerners who are your white masters, who you worship so much, using kind of the rhetoric that they use, right? Even they understand that this is unacceptable. Look at, they know that this is wrong. How dare you do this? You have no right to do this. You deserve punishment for this, because they punish people for this. You deserve to live in fear over this, because we put fear in their heart and it worked. I want everyone to understand the broader implications of this. And it's also worth understanding that, like I said, you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And one of my favorite quotes from Maryam Namazi, and I apologize, I don't remember the verbiage, so I'm going to have to go with the spirit of the quote. But she's basically saying, what you need to understand about Islamists is that a woman's hair is blasphemous. A woman's skin is blasphemous. Criticism is blasphemous, right? It's not, what she's getting at is it doesn't stop with just desecration, right? It doesn't stop with just mockery. It is all encompassing, because we are dealing with a totalistic ideology that puts forward the strongly held central tenet that this is an idea that is above any scrutiny whatsoever, because it is perfect for all men for all time. When you are dealing with a sense of totalism like that, anything is blasphemous. Scientific progress is blasphemous. Evolution is blasphemous. So this is why we here at Atheist Republic are always trying to communicate to people that this is about so much more than desecration or mockery. A lot of people don't really like the mockery, even ex-Muslims, atheists in general. A lot of people don't like the desecration. They find it off color. They find it distasteful. But it's about, and this is one of the things that Armin taught me several years ago that has always stuck in my mind. It's about red lines. It's about detecting red lines and seeing what is allowed to be questioned, what is held above scrutiny. And this needs to be protected so that all of the more subtle things that come before it as not nearly seen as offensive are also protected. I hope I'm making sense here. Right. And I just saw Dee bring up a point in the live chat. By the way, I want everyone to say thank you, Dee, because she is our lovely volunteer editor. So she's saying, guys, it is any holy text, which should include the Bible. Okay, let's be clear. Yes, the law does say all sacred texts, and there are certain conditions about when and where you can do this, okay? Everyone knows that this is in response to the Quran burnings. Yes, technically, before the law, it has to be equal under the law. That's a technicality. We all know this is about the Quran. Does anyone here truly believe that after 600 years in repealing blasphemy laws in Denmark, they would institute this again over the Bible? Does anyone really believe that if they're being honest with themselves? No, we all know where this is coming from. Especially given the time, it's obvious. They talk about it. Like, so I don't want to hear anyone making that excuse. Okay, that was enough of my ranting.
I have a question. So is it just, can you explain to me what the law says, that you cannot burn any holy text?
The bans the public mistreatment of holy texts.
Public. Can I mistreatment? So like you could basically, what is mistreatment? What if I spit on it? So it's not just burning. Even if that would count. Because I was thinking that if they are banning the burning of it, I was suggesting for people to take a page of the Quran and go pick their dog poop with it. Would that be and record that? That would be banned as well, picking your dog
poop? Yes, especially one aspect of the law is literally that you cannot do it publicly or record it and publish it for wide dissemination. So videoing it, even in your own private home, to publish it for wide dissemination is also illegal.
Wow. What if I did this with the satanic verses? Would that be illegal? Like if I took
probably
the satanic,
yes,
well, I mean, not satanic verses. So wait. I mean the holy, like the satanic Bible, not the satanic verses. That's Islamic.
Yes, the satanic Bible, would be legal.
Okay.
Because Trells is bringing up a good point that is a detail that I didn't mention, which is only holy texts of religious groups recognized by the state. Now, I don't know for a fact, but I'm assuming Satanism isn't recognized by the state in Denmark.
So somebody should try. I mean, I'm not encouraging people to do illegal things, but what if somebody tried with that with the Bible? They would get arrested. Like, what is the punishment? A fine? We get arrested, like in prison?
You would have a fine, and the maximum penalties is 2 years in prison.
2 years in prison for spitting on a piece of paper.
Yeah, for doing what you want with your own property. So long as it is your own property, assuming.
What if you have a recording of you burning the Quran, burning a book that you claim is the Quran, but you also have a record, and then when they come arrest you to put you in prison, you have a previous recording that shows that it was not the Quran, it was just empty pages.
Honestly,
that it was the Quran.
I mean, you're just being tricky right now.
But no, I'm just trying to show how ridiculous this law is. Like, it's just paper. What if what I said was on it was not really on that paper? Like, it's just so dumb. Like, you guys are putting, the state is now in a position to put value on piece of paper because of the claim that this is somehow divine. So the state is officially recognizing divine authority.
Yes.
Okay.
And Pele is bringing up a good point, saying this is an important point. The state decides what is a holy book and what is not. How could that go wrong?
How can you claim to be a secular state when you are valuing certain papers over some other piece of paper, depending on whether the text on it is considered divine or not divine? How is this you go to prison or not, depending on the marks on the page being considered divine, the word of a divine entity or not? And this is blasphemy law. Denmark has blasphemy law.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and all again, it took was some bullying by the OIC in the United Nations, which is now controlled by freaking Islamists, it seems like.
Yeah, and it's not just a free speech issue. It's also you are encouraging violent behavior. You are encouraging fear of violence. You are signaling to everybody that if you want to get your way, it gets barbaric. That is a very dangerous message to send out there. I mean, and it didn't take that much. It took so if you are crazy, we will listen to you. So act crazy. That's the message out there. This is going to get worse.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my God, this is going to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. So you're trying to do this so you get less radicalism and get less crazy behavior in Europe. All you're doing is doing this does the opposite of what you're trying to do. This is like, hey, everybody in Europe, look, we get our way when we behave this way. I mean, Susie, explain to me, these people must know these. Like, I mean, these politicians cannot be that stupid. So
I don't know if they're that stupid or just that cucked by political correctness.
Right. I mean, they're not that stupid. They just care more about their political career than the state of their country. That's what's happening.
Or they say that they are caring for their country because this is a national security issue. You think anyone that's going to come kill you over this cares about this standard? No. That's actually,
it is a national security.
There's studies revealing that blasphemy laws make national security worse. Look at Pakistan.
It isn't. But my point is that, yes, this is a national security issue, and you are rewarding the behavior that is threatening your national security. Obviously, this is going to do the opposite of what you intended to do. And you know this because you cannot be that dumb. I mean, it's hard to get that dumb and get anywhere in your career. So my guess is that these are people who know this, but they're putting their career ahead of, because they understand that this is how you get elected. This is how you stay in power as a politician. Mm-hmm. They're sacrificing their country for the sake of their own career. Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable.
So bad. So we have a few comments. First of all, we have a new member. Weasel just joined as a member. Welcome to Satan's Minions.
Thank you.
And Erkin, and actually, first I want to read the comments from Trells, our local Dane. When you responding to your hypothetical situation, he said that's illegal too, because the law says that you also cannot burn any item pretending to be a holy text. And that makes sense because it plays into their broader thing of you cannot video this to distribute for the sake of like public outrage, incitement, however they phrase it. He also says, Denmark does not claim to be a secular state. Article 4 of our Constitution mandates that the state maintain a Lutheran state church. That's also what Erican was saying. Thank you for the super chat, Erican. Yeah, he said Denmark is officially a Christian state.
Wait.
Well,
this is my...
In the live chat, Sheikh Armin Ibn Wahhabi said, "Astaghfirullah." Oh my god. Yeah.
I hope that people in the rest of Europe go out and blaspheme as much as possible against religious texts as a way to show that at least because I think that needs to happen. I think because if you want in one country, at least you could see that the level of blasphemy against religious texts is increasing in other places as a way to as a deterring. This is why being insulting to religious texts and anything that is considered sacred, it has utility. It's not just a revenge thing. It's not just poking at people and trying to be like, oh my god, does this hurt? Let me poke. Like, people must understand that this has actual political utility. This is a form of activism that is signaling to people who are trying to silence you that these methods don't work. So don't think that when we are encouraging people and suggesting that maybe they should go burn the Quran, maybe they should go insult the Quran or whatever, draw Muhammad, it's not because we're just trying to make Muslims upset. We're not trying to make them, we're not bullies. We're not trying to just get a reaction out of people. It's supposed to act like a deterring tool. Like the thing that you want for us not to say, if you try to do that by force or by intimidation, it's going to get louder. It's going to get more. It's to prove that methodology doesn't work. It's to discourage people from using those intimidation tactics. So I'm hoping that the rest of Europe at least responds to this. And there are activists all around Europe that actually go out of their way to make sure that they do 10 times, 100 times more the thing that the Islamists are trying to silence. By the way, I use the word Islamist a lot. I just want to clarify that I don't think Islamism is a thing, but I do think Islamists are a thing, because Islamism and Islam are the same thing. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this is what people don't understand is that, and I'm going to explicitly be promoting this more and more because I think more people need clarity around this. We need to be treating Islamists, these are theocratic fascists, with the same level of contempt, disdain, and disgust that we treat Yahtzees. Like, let's be 100% clear. And for those who don't know, Yahtzee is our code word that we use for the bad people from World War II, okay? Because YouTube doesn't like that word. We need to promote more clarity around this, because they are actually incredibly similar in their sympathies and also their end goals. And so much of our political body in the West is literally cucked into treating these people like victims because they're brown. Like, it's embarrassing, but that's literally true. I mean, like, oh yeah, well, no, it's not like that because, you know, oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I went on a rant yesterday with Armin about how I have drastically changed my opinions about immigration in Europe over the past few days. Yeah.
Tell us.
Oh my God.
Tell us.
Basically, I was watching a lot of different videos about how not blasphemy, how immigration is impacting Europe right now, and I understand the concerns of people and the point they were making so much more now. And I think one thing I didn't understand as an American was how the welfare state plays into this. And so basically, and I didn't appreciate how it has a severe undue burden on the rest of society when they have a really large welfare state. Because when you have a really large welfare state, it necessitates that you need a highly skilled population that is then contributing back a lot into the welfare state. And if you have a large population that is low skilled or can't even really speak the language that well or doesn't even want to, then they are always going to be taking more from the welfare state than what they contribute. And then over time, that is going to drag the entire society down. Like, it's literally just math. And I was watching a lot of videos specifically about specifically on how Denmark, for example, is taking very severe measures to push integration into communities. And some of these measures are very heavy-handed. Some of them require a heavy degree of very strong intervention directly into people's lives from the state. And normally, in many ways, that does make me uncomfortable because I'm kind of someone with I would say I'm a libertarian sympathizer. But I think that this is I'm gonna even get really, really real. If this requires that these states do not accept immigrants or refugees that are even the people that I want protection for the most, namely being LGBT people and ex-Muslims, that might be a step that they have to take. Because let's be honest in saying that these states do not owe that to anyone. They owe maintaining a quality of life and maintaining the social contract with their own citizenry. And so a lot of these measures that they're taking, I understand it so much more now because they essentially need to put the gas mask, or not the gas mask, the little oxygen mask, on an airplane on themselves first before they take care of other people. And so they're going to have to become very strict on immigration, probably for another 15 to 20 years, because they need to get their failure of integration. Their own politicians come out and openly say how much they failed to integrate. They need to get a handle on that before they can continue to welcome in other people. That's literally just the most responsible thing to do. I think you could also make a very progressive argument that failing to integrate the people that come into their community and instead allow them to ghettoize and live in poverty itself is not actually very humanitarian. Itself is not very progressive. Itself is not very welcoming. If you're not taking measures and just to actually make sure that people are living the same quality of life as the native population, right? It's going to require heavy intervention. And it's made me understand the route that Europe has taken a lot more. Yeah, Zayd is saying, I totally understand that, but it kind of crushes my hope of getting out of the Middle East. Well, okay, my love. Here's the thing. This is often the case for low-skilled refugees, asylum seekers, or people who are illegal migrants. I know what you do, Zayd. You work really hard, and you're working to make yourself highly skilled. A lot of these countries still need highly skilled immigration, especially considering their declining birth rates, and they need people paying back into the social welfare system. So I don't know. Those are kind of my rough thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, we forgot to highlight some of the comments that D-Look found for us. Do you want to read these regarding the Danish?
Oh, okay. Just a second. Let me zoom in. Okay, someone on Twitter responded to seeing this article in the New York Times saying civilized people can use words to discuss their thoughts and feelings about books and statues and flags. Uncivilized people feel the need to destroy these objects as if that will fix the problem. Or is it because they recognize their own incapacity to destroy all they fear?
So, but this person doesn't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No, but this person doesn't understand is that this is just not giving into bullies, right? You could have, and it's also a logical fallacy referred to as false dichotomy, as if you there's a lot of activism that is not by words. Like you do activism by dancing, by you know by making a statue, by like many forms, by music, and sometimes you burn things as a form of activism, or spit on something, or destroy something as a form of activism, right? Or sometimes you take a hammer and break something as a form of symbolism. But the point is that you could have conversations as well. This does not, somebody who has, in fact, if you go look at the activists that take part in, I don't know, burning the Quran or desecrating something or drawing Muhammad, they most of the time they have a lot to say. So to act like one they are choosing one over the other is so dishonest. It's actually a very lazy way of addressing what's happening, as if they are not also taking part in conversations. Are you pretending? Does that make it easier for you to criticize, to pretend like these people are not taking part in conversations about the reason why they're doing what they're doing? So I think it's a straw man, it's a false dichotomy, and it's not recognizing many different forms of activism that exist.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want to respond to that also, or
No,
that
I
is all?
actually had some starred comments I wanted to go through. So, Trials, again,
Okay.
our local Dane, is saying now for a bit of good news. The law passed by 94 votes, with the majority being just 90. And according to current polls, the four parties who voted for it will only be at 68 in the next election, meaning so this will very likely be repealed in about 2 years or so. Let's freaking hope so. Like, I don't know what politics is like in Denmark, but I hope there's like a strong coalition of Danes freaking
Oh my god, that
pulling
would be
their
great.
hair out over this. Because this is unacceptable. Um, but even still, it's because here's the message it sends. I was like trying to look up news about this, and then what do I see? Oh, I see a big thing from Al Azhar University celebrating this as a proof that this is all about peace and about respecting Muslims and fighting Muslim hatred. Blah blah blah. Give me a break. No, it's not. It's not about those things. Um, It, oh,
Okay,
It
what?
particularly makes me angry because these are the exact same institutions that give very little care about the actual quality of life of Muslims around the world. And it could not be more obvious by the way they call Gazans being killed by Israeli airstrikes a victory because they get to be Shaheed, by the way that they don't say crap about the way the Indian Muslims are lynched, and by the way that they have almost nothing to say about the actual genocide of Muslims going on in China. But this is what shows that there will be peace and that there's not hatred towards Muslims. Okay, sure.
Papers over people.
Yeah. I mean, but we know this. GJ is also saying, sorry, but how does our resident US host compare this to the necessity for US presidential candidates to be religious or Christian? It's not a legal necessity. It's just a cultural one. There's
Which is a
literally
bad one.
nothing in our Yeah, there's nothing in our law. We have no aspect of our constitution that says that we have to have a leader that is from this faith. Right. We're not Lebanon. We don't have the confessional system.
Right.
Yeah, if you want to see how that goes, check out Lebanon. Sorry. Their system is so confusing. It's such a mess. They're like, this position of government has to be a Christian, and this one has to be a Shia, and this one has to be a Druze, and this one has to be a Sunni. It's like, can we just get who's qualified? Instead, it now becoming family dynasties that control certain ministries was kind of weird.
Yeah. Can we clap for the next?
That would screw an economy. Sorry. I'm going off today.
Well, that's good. I like it when you do that. I like it. Do that. Can we clap for the next news?
We're gonna clap because we are seeing the White House finally step back from possibly the #1 Islamist sympathizing organization in the U.S.
No way. Okay, great. Next news.
U.S. Muslim leader cheers Gaza massacre. White House slams CAIR. In a recent controversial speech at the American Muslims for Palestine, or AMP convention, Nihad Awa, founder and executive director of Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR for short, expressed his satisfaction with the events of October 7th in Gaza, where thousands of Hamas terrorists breached the enclave's border with Israel, resulting in the deaths of 1,200 Israelis and the taking of over 240 hostages. Awad's statement, quote, "And yes, I was happy to see people breaking the siege and throwing down the shackles of their own land and walk free into their land, which they were not allowed to walk in," refers to the blockade imposed on Gaza by Israel and Egypt since 2007 to prevent Hamas from importing weapons and materials for potential attacks. The White House condemned Awad's remarks as shocking and anti-Semitic, with spokesperson Andrew Bates emphasizing the abhorrent nature of the terrorist attacks. Awad later clarified his comments, stating that he condemned violence against Israeli civilians, but stood by the right of occupied people to defend themselves. CAIR has faced accusations of promoting anti-Semitism and alleged connections to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood in the past. The October 7th attack, one of the worst massacres in Israeli history, resulted in widespread civilian casualties and atrocities. So, Armin, if you scroll down, I believe we actually have footage of his statements, and we can just watch that ourselves.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. I want to watch it on X itself. X or Twitter. Are we calling it X? Are we calling it X now? I think we are. I have.
Well, I'm not trying to say that we're watching X videos.
Okay.
I'm gonna go shut up.
The people of Gaza only decided to break the siege, the walls of the concentration camp on October 7th. And yes, I was happy to see people breaking the siege and throwing down the shackles of their own land and walk free into their lands that they were not allowed to walk in. And yes, the people of Gaza.
Do you see the applause? Like, not only I was like, I wonder if anybody gets up and like, no, this is not, I'm sorry, this is not, we did not know the speaker is going to say this. This does not represent what we want to say here on our organization. This is just the opinion of one individual that does not reflect the people here in this room and the organizers of this event. No, you hear applause instead. The guy is celebrating a genocidal massacre of Jewish people, and what you hear in the audience by American Muslims in the most famous Islamic institution in the United States, with the highest amount of support from American Muslims, you hear in the audience an applause for celebrating a genocidal massacre of Jewish people. Unbelievable. Like, let's just go back a little bit. I just want to hear the applause one more time.
And yes, the people of Gaza have the right to self-defense, have the right to defend themselves. And yes, Israel as an occupying power does not have that right to self-defense. Gaza became the liberation source.
Israel doesn't have a right to defend herself.
Wait, I said she said, hold on, let me see one more time. And yes, Israel as an occupying power does not have that right to defend. Okay, wow. This guy is just full on mask
once
off.
again, it comes down to, let's be clear, guys, when this conflict is discussed, 90% of the time, I swear, I wish this was an exaggeration, it comes down to, why won't the Jews just sit down and die? Why won't they just sit down and let us kill them? That's what this comes down to way too often. Because if you push them, there is no acceptable response from the Jewish people besides letting themselves be killed, tortured, raped, and executed. Okay, continue.
Yeah, anything. This is why it's so dishonest when these people keep saying, like, oh, you shouldn't, Israel is doing what is doing in Gaza. Do you condemn it? Do you condemn it? Because these people are dishonest, because there's literally nothing Israel could do that these people would not condemn. They're saying any form of self-defense would be condemned. The only acceptable option is for you to just take it and just let us. Why don't you just let us kill you? That's what they're saying.
Gaza became the liberation source, the inspiration for people. Gaza transformed many minds around the world, including people who are not Muslim. What kind of faith these people have? They are thankful. They're not afraid. And Israel did not scare them because they knew that their heaven is in Gaza. And if they would like to die, they will go to another heaven.
Once again, we see this rhetoric over and over and over again. Sorry, take it away, Armin.
No. You finish it. You say it. You said.
This is a culture. This is an ideology. This is a belief that celebrates death above life. Because once again, this is the rhetoric that the Gazans are victorious as they are being killed.
Yeah, perfect.
They are victorious if they defeat Israel. They are victorious if they are killed by Israel. It doesn't matter. Because either way, they are dying for the sake of Allah.
And this is such an anti-Palestinian message. I'm telling you, this is why these people care about Islam and more than they care about Muslims. And they are the most, this ideology is the worst, it's the most damaging and most dangerous thing that you could spread for the sake of Muslims. Imagine looking at Gaza and saying this is heaven for them. They want this. They want this misery. Again, when I say people who hold Palestinian flags and say, Palestine shall be free and blah, 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 and all this, they are pro-Palestinian activists are not pro-Palestinian. They're the worst thing for Palestine. These people are celebrating the misery of people in Gaza as something to celebrate, as something that they value. They say this is the best thing you could want. Imagine having that view. What motivations would you have to try to get people out of that situation? If you think this is a good thing, if you think they're saying that he's also saying it's changing people's minds around the world. It's completely masked off. He's saying that we're using Palestinian blood to spread our message, and this is great. And they want it as well. They're saying, like, we want Palestinians to suffer because it's spreading our message, it's spreading our ideology. And don't worry, they want it as well. They think this is heaven. With that mindset, what would be the motivation to help Palestinians get out of the situation that they're in? This is why I say I have very little doubt that the Israeli military cares more about Palestinian lives 1,000 times more than pro-Palestinian activists. Pro-Palestinian activists want Palestinians to suffer. They tell you that. The Israeli military is trying to avoid killing them. They want them to die. They want them to suffer. They're investing in their suffering, and they're telling you that. We're not making this stuff up. They tell you this themselves. But let's continue.
That is the faith of the people of Gaza. And that's why Gaza and the people of Gaza were able to transform everyone who's watching. They have learned from these people. And those who felt bad for Gaza, they don't understand the equation. Those who thought that the Gazans are less than those who can help them, they are mistaken. They are mistaken. The Gazans were the victorious.
They literally say so. We don't have to tell you that they say.
He's even saying that those who feel bad for Gazans, they don't understand. Like, it's a wrong position to even feel bad for them. We should be happy that they're suffering. Oh my God. I mean, he doesn't make it. Sometimes I feel like maybe like people think that I'm making this stuff up, and maybe they think like I'm exaggerating. And then you see stuff like this. These are their speakers. These are the people who get the applause. So you're saying, what has the U.S. government, because right now there's an unholy alliance between the CAIR and other Muslim organization and the Democratic Party. And these institutions have had major influence on the Democrats. And there's two things I think that could help us separate these two from each other, because the amount of influence that CAIR and other Islamic organizations have on U.S. politics is very dangerous. And I think the only two issues that will make them divorce each other is one LGBT, and the other one is Israel. So you're saying now there's a drift between them? They're separating? Is there a divorce?
So after this came out, and it was Memory, the clip that we just watched, that really publicized it. And I can actually read the statement that he made himself after Memory published this, because I think it's worth saying his response. The White House Deputy Press Secretary, Andrew Bates, basically completely condemned it in the strongest terms. And then, okay, here's a quote I'll read. The White House faced criticism in May when it released the national strategy to counter anti-Semitism that included a fact sheet that said that CAIR would educate religious communities about protecting houses of worship from hate. In the national strategy to counter anti-Semitism, they're including CAIR. That given and this was controversial given the organization's history of anti-Semitic remarks. Today, CAIR's name was deleted from that fact sheet, which the White House attributed to Awad's comments. Quote, CAIR was not listed in the strategy. They were one of several independent organizations listed in a supplemental document, a White House official told Jewish Insider, referring to the online fact sheet. Quote, the White House removed their commitment from the supplemental document today as a result of the comments. The White House official also made clear that CAIR was not part of conversations happening now as the White House drafts the recently declared national strategy against Islamophobia. CAIR is not consulting on the development of the Islamophobia strategy, period, the White House official said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see there's consequences.
Yeah.
This is actually more than I expected. I know it's not enough. The fact that you have an Islamophobia, whatever mumbo jumbo, that's already concerning, but it's a little bit more than what I expected from the Biden administration, which is kind of good.
So, I mean, this is like a small glimmer of hope that the Democrats are taking a step back from the Islamists. And so in response to this, Nawad made a statement on the CAIR website saying, despite my clear remarks, an anti-Muslim, anti-Palestinian hate website, referring to Memory, selected remarks from my speech out of context and spliced them together to make a completely false meaning. What I actually said while discussing international law: Ukrainians, Palestinians, and other occupied people have the right to defend themselves and escape occupation by just and legal means, but targeting civilians is never acceptable means of doing so, which is why I have again and again condemned the violence on Israeli civilians, just as I have condemned the violence, decades of violence against Palestinian civilians. Quote, so when he's talking about breaking the siege, this is who he says he's actually talking about. Quote, the average Palestinian who briefly walked out of Gaza and set foot on their ethnically cleansed land in a symbol of defiance against the blockade and stopped there without engaging in violence were within their rights under international law. The extremists who went on to attack civilians in southern Israel were not.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh my gosh, sure, buddy. Sure, buddy. It's like saying, like, I support the Holocaust. I'm not gonna say the rest, but not the people that actually. But they were like, "What are you talking about? You support what they did to the Jews?" Like, no, I wasn't necessarily talking about the part that they were gassing Jewish people and killing them. I was talking about the people who were mopping the floor. Like, you know, at the end of the day, Jews lived there, and you know, the people who were cleaning the area, like, you know, it's good
they
that
built
the Jews
a lot of
were
infrastructure
like,
during that time. I like the highways. I like the Autobahn.
Yeah, what do you? Yeah, okay, sure, buddy, sure.
And D is making such a good point. I must have missed those peaceful videos.
What are you talking about? Oh my god!
Just having a quick stroll as a bulldozer comes to rip down the fence.
Yeah, they say I support the Taliban. I'm like, oh my god, CAIR supports the Taliban. Like, no, I'm not talking about when they're like closing schools and for girls
shooting
and torturing
girls in the
people.
head.
Yeah, that's not what I meant. But they do some office work. Well, that, you know, somebody needs to do some. Like, I support that part specifically, not the entirety of the Taliban. Okay, like, okay, sure.
They're learning how to be good admin professionals.
Yeah.
Does he think people are dumb? We all know what he meant.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god.
It's so absurd.
Would he say then he support? No, wait, but never mind.
What do you think about people? This is actually an interesting question, Armin. What do you think about people comparing the Ukrainian situation to the Palestinian conflict?
As in, the people in Gaza fighting against Israel is the same as Ukrainians fighting against Russia? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, or there are people that argue that if you support Ukraine, you should be supporting Palestine.
No, if you support Ukraine, well, I mean, first of all, we do support Palestine. We support Palestine and Israel. We are against Hamas because we support Palestine, right? So, by the way, by supporting Palestine, they mean support Hamas. We don't support Hamas, right? And no, if you support Ukraine, you should be also supporting Israel, because these are liberal democracies, and they represent, I mean, at least Israel is not as secular as we want, but it's more secular than every country over there. So we support secularism, we support liberalism, we support democracies, we support freedom of speech, and these are what Ukraine and Israel represent against their enemies. So that's why we support them. Also, who was the aggressor? It was Hamas that started the attack, just like it was Russia that started the attack. So again, the equivalent to Russia in this equation would not be Israel, it would be Hamas, given that who started the attack. Third point is that international laws recognizes Israel as a country and Israel's borders, and anybody who wants to challenge that will be considered in violation of international laws, right? So again, at this point, Hamas would, given this fact, Hamas would be equivalent to Russia, not to Ukraine, because Russia was challenging the sovereignty of a country, its independence, and its border integrity of Ukraine, the same way that Hamas is doing to Israel. Israel is a country that is recognized by the United Nations as a country that has the right to exist and has the right to defend itself, and same with Ukraine. So again, in this scenario, the equivalent to Ukraine, based on all these three arguments that I made, the equivalent to Ukraine would be Israel, not Hamas.
Okay. This is a good question from Atheist Gamer. What is the main difference between a Muslim and an Islamist? So basically, there are people who have this as a religion and a belief system, and Armin and I are both of the belief that Islam is inherently political, right? People try to say that Islamism is political Islam, or like Islam is political Islam. But an Islamist would be someone who's actually trying to implement that in the government. And if it's of the Muslim Brotherhood variety, then that would be through a means of, slow inching towards that process. Or it could be of a more violent variety, like ISIS, where it's like, no, we're going to come and establish a caliphate one way or another. But it's the impetus towards establishing Islam as a system of ruling over others.
So Islamist is basically somebody who is he's closer to the spirit of Islam. Islamist is a Muslim who is trying to who's more political with their Islam, as Islam is if the true nature of Islam intends to be. But yeah.
We have also, I just want to say hi, Deborah. I missed you so much. Guys, if you want to check out an amazing interview that Armin and I did with Deborah a few years ago, you have to go check it out. It's about how Deborah converted and then essentially
to Islam.
Yeah, but was like an Islamist fundamentalist in that community while living in Canada. So it's an amazing interview, and Deborah is one of the most amazing women I've ever met. So go check that out. And Nasreen gave us a super chat. Thank you, Nasreen, saying, I have no words. I'm just angry. Same. But we're happy that you're here, Nasreen. Juna.
Yes.
So this next news is a little bit tricky because it contains a word that is very sensitive on YouTube. Mainly being the big H. So how should I talk about this? Because this does have the big H.
Say halakha instead of the whole thing. Halakha.
But halakha is the word for Jewish religious law.
Well, just say halakha. I'm not going to finish the word. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Okay, I'm going to say big H.
Okay, the big H. Wait, no, but okay. So you can say, if you say big H, you can say, we could read it off of the screen for people who are,
Okay.
All right. So can we clap?
Okay. Oh God, this is like so bad. I really don't know if I want to.
Okay. Wait.
Oh, people are right. Shoah. Okay. Yes, let's refer to it as the Shoah, which is how Jewish people refer to it. Okay. So when we say Shoah, we are referring to obviously the giant crime against humanity that happened by the Germans in World War II. And we're just using this language because YouTube be sensitive and we're trying to get some engagement on this video, which reminds me, guys, have you liked the stream yet? Like the stream, it helps out the show. We talk about controversial things that YouTube doesn't like, so it kills the algorithm. Help us pray to the algorithm god by liking the stream. And also, if you have not subscribed, please do, because we do this every week and we have a lot of fun here. And Armin has been having some amazing live streams every day recently. Okay, anyways, let's go into it.
All right, so we're clapping or not clapping? Not clapping?
No, not clapping. That's a bad look.
Okay. Next news.
Alarming poll reveals rising Shoah denial among American youth. Disturbing findings from a recent YouGov and Economist poll on December 7th reveal a concerning trend on rising Shoah denial among American youth.
So tell people again why we're not saying the actual word.
I am saying Shoah because YouTube does not like the big H word. If you want to know what I'm referring to, look on the screen. Okay. So this poll on the December 7th revealed a concerning trend of rising Shoah denial among American youth. The survey of 1,500 adults in the United States explored opinions on various topics, including discrimination against Jews, hate crimes, anti-Semitism, with a focus on age demographics. Shockingly, 20% of respondents aged 18 to 29 believe that the Shoah is a myth, contrasting starkly with 7% of the general population. So almost 3 times more likely than the general population to have this belief. Additionally, this younger age group showed the higher agreements with anti-Semitic statements, such as believing Jews have too much power in America and expressing skepticism about Israel's existence. The survey indicates a need for increased education and awareness to combat the troubling rise of Shoah denial and anti-Semitic state sentiments among American youth. So this falls into a reoccurring theme on this show, which is Gen Z scares me, and I think we're one generation away from fascism. So also Armin, in the show notes, I have something else that I want you to bring forward and show in a second.
Okay.
So, oh my goodness. This is a huge problem. And I don't even know what to attribute this to, because what I'm saying is I don't know who to blame for this. I can't take the blame for this because this is embarrassingly my own generation. So you can't hold me responsible. The people who have come before us in America have woefully betrayed our own country with how we're treating the youth. Zaid is saying, I identify as a boomer. My generation scares me. Yeah, but you're not an American, so you can try to, distance yourself from this at least. I don't get that luxury. Being a boomer is now cool. This is, I think this reflects a general trend towards the systems of what I refer to as critical social justice, which other people just refer to as wokeism. They, has its philosophical and ideological roots in postmodernism or applied postmodernism. And I think this is really a result of the last 15 years, roughly. Because I remember these kinds of ideas, these modes of thinking really coming into effect when I was in my early teenage years. And I was surrounded by it. It heavily influenced my education. It heavily influenced me in return. And then a lot of the activism and insanity that I engaged in, especially in my early 20s. And I'm literally thinking that we have destroyed our civilization within the span of 15 years. And I'm laughing just because you have to cope. And what a lot of people need to understand about this system of thinking is that it literally rejects objective truth as something that exists. It rejects empiricism and rationalism as a valid or superior method of knowing. And when these things are constantly imbued or kind of a flavor in the backdrop of other ideologies that are being pushed on kids, where I understand more and more every day how they're being taught to be more like activists than actual thinkers, it's not surprising at all to me that this would result in Shoah denialism. And for example, I want to let me read one section of the of the findings. So a slightly okay, let me see. Asked if they agreed with a slew of statements widely considered anti-Semitic. Okay, YouTube, these are statements that we are reading for the purposes of explaining a poll. These are not beliefs that we have. Including, quote, Jews have too much power in America, quote, people should boycott Israeli goods and products, quote, Israel exploits Shoah victimhood for its own purposes, quote, Israel has too much control over global affairs, and quote, the interests of Israelis are at odds with the interests of the rest of the world. The youngest age bracket answered in the affirmative, more so to those statements than any other group. So again, this is not secluded to one thing. This is a symptomatic of a generalized attitude towards Jewish people. And I think that part of what makes me believe that this is heavily influenced by critical social justice, wokeism, postmodernism, whatever you want to call it, is some other findings that came out like literally a day or two ago. And Armin, that's what I included in the show notes. Could you bring that forward, please?
Yeah, okay, I'm bringing it, but also does it mention that the Democrats are more, because I'm looking at the data and it seems like there's more, the Democrats are more Holocaust denier than the other people.
Where are you finding that?
So the poll shows that, so the young people is 20%. But the survey revealed that 10% of Democrats believe the Holocaust is a myth, which is double the percentage of Republicans.
That's interesting. Well, I'm going to say something that is going to make people uncomfortable, but it is my understanding of the statistics. So I would okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. That is likely a result of the fact that if you look based on political leaning and broken down by race or ethnic group, white liberals are the least likely to be anti-Semitic in the country. Black and Latino Americans are 6 times more likely to be anti-Semitic. They're the most anti-Semitic groups in the country. And this is a voting bloc that tends to vote Democrat. So, although some of that is changing, especially with Latinos. So that is my guess at the nature of that question.
But this is surprising because I thought like the Republicans have also a whole bunch of far-right people. I mean, I knew the leftists have the fair amount of anti-Semitism, Holocaust denier, and all of that. But I didn't know it was this much more than Republicans. That is insane.
Yeah, because people don't really want to have honest conversations about how people that are most likely to be anti-Semitic in the United States are not white, because we have this twisted belief of like mutually exclusive minorities. And we are completely unable to have honest conversations in this country about anti-Semitism that comes from so-called POC. I wish it wasn't that simplistic, but it is. My understanding of this, all the statistics that I have seen, that's my understanding. I could be wrong.
This is very dangerous for our future because this is the trend. We're going in this direction, you know. The left more and more, I mean, these are younger people also on average are more leftist, and you're saying that leftist parties are becoming more anti-Semitic and younger people are becoming more anti-Semitic. And I don't know if this anti-Semitic or just ignorance, because there's a lot of videos on TikTok that is denying the Holocaust. There's a lot of videos on TikTok that is claiming that, I don't know, Jewish people control the world and the Holocaust never happened and crap like that. It's like it's unbelievable how much that is spreading. So maybe, I don't know if it's, anyways, I mean, it could be a mix of both, but these are the data that you wanted us to show.
Difference between anti-Semitism and ignorance? Is there a difference between bigotry and ignorance?
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. I don't know where to draw the line. But what are these data?
This is a different poll that came out. So I just want to be clear. This is a separate poll than the article we were just discussing, because this came out like a day ago. And so this came from Harvard and Harris. And let's just look through this. There's an ideology that white people are oppressors and non-white people and people of certain groups have been oppressed and as a result should be favored today at universities and for employment. Do you support or oppose this ideology? And in general, the vast majority opposed it. However, if you look at the 18 to 24%, age range.
Ooh.
So this is Gen Z. This is solidly Gen Z. 79% support it. It's the only age demographic that supports this. Okay, let's go to the next one. Do you think this ideology is helpful or hurtful to our society? Again, every age demographic says hurtful, except for Gen Z, once again, coming in with the majority support. Next slide. Do you think that Jews as a class are oppressors and should be treated as oppressors, or is this a false ideology? Again, everyone says, yeah, that's false. Also, again, boomers coming in, killing it. You know what? This kind of made me like boomers a lot more. At 91% saying that's false. Meanwhile, Gen Z, once again, majority supporting that statement.
Wait a second.
Most insane. Okay, shall we continue?
Wait, hold on. No, we shall not. We shall not. You're telling me 67% of Gen Z considers Jews to be as a class to be oppressors?
Who does that remind you of?
67%. Okay, I give up. Let's shut it down. Susan, what are you telling me? Okay.
What the F is wrong with Gen Z? Their heads have been filled with poison for the past 15 years.
This is. Are you sure about this? I know things are bad, but 67%.
Well, hold on to your tear close, it's about to get worse.
Oh,
next slide.
You're telling me the vast majority of our future generation is anti-Semites. Okay. Okay. Well, wow.
Okay. Here's where things get a little bit different. Do you think that identity politics based on race has come to dominate at our elite universities, or do they operate primarily on the basis of merit and accomplishments without regard to race? And here is where everyone across demographics, majority say identity politics based on race does dominate our elite universities. Okay, interesting. Now move to the next slide, please.
But the thing is that maybe the difference is that Gen Z says like, yes, and that's good.
Next slide, please.
Oh, okay. I think it's going to answer my question. There we go.
Oh, okay. Okay, it didn't answer that question, but basically I'm 90% sure that it does ask that question, and they're like, oh yeah, no, that's a good thing though.
Okay.
So basically what you just said was right.
Okay, good.
Okay, if a student calls for genocide of Jews, should that student be told that they are free to call for genocide, or should should such students face actions for violating university rules? Again, everyone says they should face consequences for violating the rules. Gen Z says, oh no, that's fine.
Oh, okay. Calling for genocide. Isn't this the same? Isn't this aren't these the same people that want, you know, community standards to kick off anybody from anywhere as soon as they see something mildly offensive? Like
this gets to the heart of the issue of the congressional statements of the elite universities before Congress, is that on a technicality, some of their statements that they made about the calls for genocide not being in violation of their university rules, there actually is technicalities where what they said is truthful. The issue is the hypocrisy. So the issue is not necessarily whether or not that actually violates community norms within those elite universities, right? The issue is that they have booted off people, stripped them, publicly shamed them, and ruined their reputation for much less. The issue being that the slight was against someone they deserved worthy, and they do not deem Jews worthy of protection. That's the implication of this. So so this is getting at the hypocrisy.
So if you misgender a student, you know, you face consequences. But if you call for genocide, they're like, yeah, no, that's free. That you should allow that. Genocide of Jewish people.
I mean, it's all about the context, Armin. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So in certain contexts, asking for genocide of Jews should not meet consequences from in a university. By the way, guys, this is not a free speech thing, okay? Because free speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences unless those consequences are legal action, like from the government. Right? So free speech doesn't mean that I get to go to my work and I get to swear at my boss and then he doesn't get to fire me. Free speech means that you don't go to jail, you don't get a fine, you don't get tortured or executed for the things that you say. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that university has to maintain your employment, whatever you say. If you call for genocide and the university fires you, that is not a violation of your free speech.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Meanwhile, Gene, who is a member of our community, who's a non-binary Jew, is saying this is going to do so much damage to trans people who just want to live their life. Yeah. Okay. Right. Next slide, please. Okay. In this conflict, do you support more Israel or more Hamas? Again. Okay.
Not Palestine.
Again, this is no. They asked Hamas. Let's be clear.
Hamas.
And
oh my God.
In this question, Gen Z barely broke even at 50%. Hamas, not Palestine.
Hamas. They support 50% of Gen Z supports not Palestine. 50% of Gen Z in America supports Hamas. What are you telling me? No. Wow.
This is what happens when you teach kids from an early age that there are people who are oppressed and that they must be given everything and nothing must be asked of them.
Unbelievable.
Anything done in response is justified.
This is an equivalent of supporting ISIS or Al Qaeda, but worse than ISIS and Al Qaeda.
I think Hamas is worse than ISIS. Hamas is worse than Yazidis.
Oh yeah, for sure. By
any
far,
day of the week,
by huge margin.
Yeah,
by a huge margin.
They are worse than the greatest evil we have ever known as a human race.
This is not an exaggeration to say if you're a Jew, if you had to choose between being taken by ISIS or Hamas, you have to pick ISIS. You have much higher chances of survival if ISIS takes you instead of Hamas. Again, not that it's going to be a fun experience. You might be possibly going to die there as well, but your chances of survival are much higher. Next slide.
Next slide. Do you think that the killing of 1,200 Israeli civilians in the kidnapping of another 250 civilians can be justified by the grievances of Palestinians, or is it not justified? Again, everyone else said, hell no, that's not justified, except for the majority of Gen Z.
Unbelievable. Wow. Wow, they're actually supporting. They're saying it's justified to kill civilians. 60%.
It's more than just killing. It's the sexual torment of civilians.
Yeah, but the question has only the killing and the kidnapping. That's why I want to try to be charitable as much as I can. So 60% of American Gen Z's young people believe that killing Israeli civilians is justified. Okay, yeah, this is a lost generation. Do you think they will grow up? They will mature once they grow up a bit, or is this like? I hope that this is just like being a dumb phase or something. No,
I don't know. I mean, I grew out of it, but I also, me growing out of it was at the cost of everyone in my life, right?
Right. Okay.
And what I learned is that most people are not willing to pay that price. That I'm actually kind of unique, because most people find social discomfort so unbearable to publicly disagree, even when they know something is objectively true.
So we have a whole bunch of super chats. Thank you, everybody. What?
Mujahid said Susanna grew based. That's freaking right, Jay. Which actually reminds me, Jay sent me something recently, and I think this might be the only Hamas that we can support. Let me find this.
I know what you're gonna do. Okay. This is a dad joke, isn't it?
No, it's way better than a dad joke. Oh my god.
Well, I was gonna respond to Mohsen because I was gonna defend
you respond
my
to the super chats while I find this.
Okay. This is a comment. I want to defend my position. Mohsen is saying, really, Hamas is worse than Yazidis? Yes, because, well, not in numbers, in total numbers, the Yazidis are obviously way worse. Okay, but not because that's only because they were more capable. The reason why I know Hamas is worse, and given the capabilities that the Yazidis had, they would do much worse than the Yazidis did, is because when they were killing Jewish people, they understood that what they were doing was so vile and evil that they did everything in their power to hide it. And they understood that the people who support the regime, even the Germans who supported the regime, would not even be able to tolerate that level of evil. They even understood that the soldiers, the agents that were doing the things that they were doing, the reason why they went from shooting and blowing up Jews to gassing was because a lot of the soldiers couldn't handle killing this many people. So they made the gas chambers because psychologically they understood that they had to create a wall between the killing of the Jews and the soldiers who were carrying the executions, because
they would didn't want to be home and get blindingly drunk.
Yes, and the people, the families of the agents, the people who went to Poland, nobody knew what was happening at these camps. They kept it completely secret because they know what they were doing was pure evil, right? However, when it comes to Hamas and their supporters, they recorded it. They recorded it and they bragged about it and they showed it. So not only they were proud of it, and their supporters were celebrating it. So the supporters of the Nazi regime, this was too much for them. They went out of their way to hide this because they knew what they were doing was evil. But Hamas, not only they didn't try to hide it, they recorded it and they spread it. They also understood that their supporters are not going to be turned off by this. That's the difference.
Well, exactly. I mean, you have footage of soldiers calling home and telling their moms, I'm killing Jews, and they're celebrating in response.
Yes.
People bringing back, freaking decimated bodies back into Gaza, and we have the footage of the entire cities coming out into the streets and celebrating. Like, guys, come on.
Right.
I would just like to say that here's the deal. Okay, we have some people with some really abhorrent beliefs, and the rest of us need to fight tooth and nail as this generation gets older to make sure that they cut this shit out and don't influence our body politic. So all that is to say that when I'm a parent and there's some bullshit going on in my school board, I'm clearing jihad on you fools. I'm going to war with this bullshit. You're not going to teach my kid this shit. Okay.
All right, so do you want to do the super chats?
I'm going to be one of those psychos at the school board that the FBI. Okay.
No, don't say that. Don't even joke about that.
I'm kidding. GJ gave us a super chat saying about our memberships. How about consolidating the $50 a month membership and the $100 a month membership into one $666 a month? That would be free up a slot for an intermediate $10 a month membership tier. I mean, we can talk about our tier structure.
I'm gonna
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I have to see. I could only do that if we don't have any members that are $50 or $100, because if I do that, we will lose them.
That's true.
I don't want to lose. Yeah, I don't want to lose.
Kenny gave us a super chat with no comment.
Well,
thank you, Kenny. And also thank you for helping me out this morning. Gasian American gave us a super chat. Thank you. Saying people should have the right to boycott if they desire. Of course. Saying my For You page is not like this. What the fuck? They took give me liberty or give me death too seriously. Yeah. Or twisted it. Very much twisted it.
Twisted it would be more accurate, yeah.
Because people fail to understand, because they just don't know better and maybe don't know enough Iranians, that Islamists can never be liberators. You want to see the kind of liberty that Islamists bring? Go look at Iran. Go look at how Iranians are living. And Gasian American also said, would you rather have Hamas or an Imperial Japanese soldier?
Of course, Japanese soldier. Easy.
I don't know, man. Those are some sick bastards.
They don't exist anymore.
I mean, do you know what they did in Nanking?
Yeah, and in the Philippines. But again, they weren't genocide. They weren't. Okay, they did some really, really brutal things. The thing is that they didn't have the eventual intention of wiping out an entire population, right? So again, if you let Hamas have everything that it could do, all the means necessary to do what it does, that will wipe out the population. I don't think the Imperial Japanese soldiers will go and wipe out 9 million people in the country. That they would not do that. They would do some horrific things, but only Hamas has the final intention to wipe out an entire population of Jewish people. All not just in Israel, actually, all around the world. So look up how many Jews are there in the world. Yeah.
Oh man, but the Imperial Japanese Army is twisted on a different level, and we really don't talk about that in America, like, at all. It's kind of messed up.
Because it's gone. It's over. Islamism.
No, but when I went through Shoah education in school, like, it was just focusing on the Shoah. Like, we learned nothing about what the other Axis powers did.
Right. But what happened during the? I think it's important to learn about that as well. But what happened to Jewish people still lives with us today. The Imperial Japan, whatever dumb ideology, what?
I mean, what happened in Nanking is burned into the Chinese psyche.
I understand that, but there are no people that are trying to continue that right now. Okay, that's the main difference. What happened in what Germany did, what the Nazis did to the Jews, people are trying to continue that. That there's nobody that is trying to continue what Imperial Japan did. It's over. So that's what that's yeah. Angel.
So Angel gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you, Angel. Saying taking gambling to a whole new level, even though it's 50-50 in hindsight. Oh, talking about the results of that poll. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you. Engaged American, a Chinese American growing up with what I was just talking about, saying, I was taught that the little boy and fat man was worth it.
Wait, what? I don't get it.
This is referring to the 2 atomic bombs that were dropped on Japan.
Oh yeah. The little and the fat man were worth it. Okay, so I don't know if I should say this. It might have stopped more people from dying.
That's a different conversation than coming from the Chinese perspective in the psychology reaction to what they went through.
Oh yeah.
That's a very different perspective.
But there are academics, again, I'm not saying this, that have analyzed this. If you're saying that because you are happy that Japanese people died, then, well, F that and whoever says that. But there are people who argue that because they think because of the little boy and the fat man, because of the 2 atomic bombs, less Japanese people ended up dying. So it's possible that it saved people. Again, don't come at me. This is the analysis that exists by some historians, okay?
Yeah, no, but again, that's a different perspective than Chinese people that are still growing up to this day with a lot of animus towards the Japanese because of what happened.
Yes.
I really don't think we have an understanding of what that is like psychologically. But that was a rough segment, and I want to bring something forward that might bring a smile to your face.
Happy.
And you know what? It might bring us together. And you know what is going to surprisingly bring us together? This might be surprising to you guys. There actually is a Hamas that we can support.
Okay.
And the Hamas that we can support is hot Arab male anal sex.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, we've been completely demonetized. Amazing. All right, great. Why you do this to us? Hey.
Now this is something we can get behind.
Oh my God.
And if anyone has a problem with this, I blame my friend Mujahid. Go check out the Habibi Power Hour podcast on Rumble if you want to see him being a complete degenerate. Yeah. So Dia saying get behind. Yeah. Yeah, Mujahid, if anyone has a problem with it, bring your complaints to him.
Guys, I would like to ask everybody to like the stream right now, because I think Susie just cost us complete demonetization and also being shown less in the algorithm. So we're not going to be recommended as much anymore. So please, I mean, it was worth it. People are laughing. People are happy. But please like the stream so that we could fight the algorithm now working against us.
I'm sorry.
People are happy.
But okay. Also, I think we needed that.
People seem to be happy in the live chat, so.
Occasion is saying, I can get behind this, inshallah.
Okay. All right, we're got another super chat as well. Do you want to read this one before we go to the next news?
Jean gave us 15 shekels. Thank you, Jean, saying I have to go, but thank you for a wonderful stream. Thank you for being part of our community.
Thank you. So we should go through the next couple of news items a little bit faster because we have not much time left. Like Ivan is saying, hope my light becomes an ice on your burnt ass, Armin. Okay, well, whatever it takes. Thank you, Ivan. Ivan here is from the Persian show, by the way, guys.
Armin and I have had our roles reversed, and I'm the one going off the rails now.
Yes. Oh wait, what is this? We got another super chat. You want to read this one before we go to the next news?
First of all, thank you for the super chat, Eric. And he's saying you should use Theta and Libri live stream protocols.
I don't know what that means. Wait, these are cryptocurrencies. I think. Yes, I think these are blockchain protocols for live streaming and stuff. Is that am I correct about this? I've looked into these a couple of years ago, and then I decided that the hassle was not worth it yet. We'll see if it goes into a place where it becomes there, but it gets there. But yeah, I mean, we have already too many things to do.
Yeah.
But thank you, Erkin. I will consider that in the back of my mind. I will have that as a thing. If I keep hearing it, I might do something about it. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, because it's shining justice. Okay.
I like how you like. Okay, your faces. Okay. All right. Next news.
6 teens convicted in the beheading of French teacher accused of blasphemy. In a landmark development, a French court has convicted 6 teenagers connected to the chilling 2020 beheading of Samuel Paty, a 47-year-old secondary school teacher. Paty, a history and geography teacher, was murdered and decapitated outside a Paris suburb school on October 16, 2020, by 18-year-old Abdullah Anzorov, a Chechen refugee. The heinous act was in response to Paty showing cartoons depicting the Prophet Muhammad during a class on free expression. The court's recent ruling on December 8th found 5 teenagers aged 14 through 15 at the time of the attack guilty of assisting Anzorov in identifying Paty to his killer. The 6th defendant was convicted of making false accusations related to a classroom debate that triggered outrage against the teacher. The teenagers, who could face prison sentences up to 2.5 years, maintained that they were unaware of the murderer's intent. The trial, conducted behind closed doors to protect the identities of the minors, has reignited discussions in France on topics such as Islamic extremism, anti-Muslim discrimination, and freedom of expression. This verdict follows recent school attacks in France, prompting renewed concerns about the safety of educators. Because just as a reminder, there was another French teacher that was attacked, stabbed, and killed in the past month. Again, by another Islamist attacker. So let me provide a lot of background for people who are not familiar with this case. So in 2020, there was this teacher. His name was Samuel Paty. Like I said, he was geography and history teacher, teaching, I believe the equivalent in America would be like high schoolers. And so there was a situation that happened where there was a female student, and she was 13 years old at the time, and she lied. She created a lie that Samuel Paty was showing pictures of the Prophet in class and asked Muslim students to raise their hands and leave the classroom before showing the cartoons, because he was literally having a civics lesson and talking about the Charlie Hebdo attacks. However, this was a lie, because that girl was not in class that day. And she perpetuated this lie to her parents, And her parents then began circulating this lie in their community and circulating calls for violence against him in the community, and in fact, in religious centers in the community. And this resulted in this attacker, Abdullah Anzorov, who was a Chechen refugee who had been living in France since he was 6 years old, to find out about this man, to go to the school and to talk to some students. He talked to some students, 5 students, and asked them to identify Paty to him, showing pictures. He offered to pay them roughly 350 euros to be identified. And then he went and beheaded Paty in the streets of a Paris suburb, posted photos of it, and was later shortly killed in gun exchange by police. And this was just horrified France, because this Samuel Paty was doing his job as a French educator to teach these French students central tenets and values of the French Republic. He is literally doing the work that we constantly talk about to integrate people into the French national identity. That's what this involves. Teaching these students about you do not have a right to not be offended. And because these children lied on him and then identified him to his murderer, he was beheaded on the sidewalks. I have seen the photos of his beheaded head that his killer posted to the internet. I can never get that image out of my mind. And left his 5-year-old son without a father. Let alone attacked the French psyche as a whole. And so this is like a seminal case in France, right? And we're now finally seeing the prosecutions come down. And I want to be clear that there is also a secondary trial that is going to be happening with the adults that were involved in perpetuating the calls for violence against him. So there's a separate trial for the adults, and that's going to be happening later this year. This was just for the children. And what was interesting was when this case first happened and we knew that there was prosecutions beginning against these minors, when this happened in 2020, me, Armin, and Rivka had all very different opinions about how these minors should be treated under the law. And I don't remember exactly what your position was, Armin, but I remember you feeling substantially more lenient than I did. What is your feelings about what is justice for what these kids did while they were minors? Because their defense is that they didn't know that he was going to kill him. However, the lawyer on behalf of Samuel Paty's son said that they were in conversation with his killer for 2 hours.
Okay, well, I didn't know that back then. And honestly, I might be under the influence of, Islam taking, growing in Europe, and also Gen Z becoming more and more radical and illiberal since then. So I might have a different opinion right now, but it might be because of the emotional reaction that I'm showing to all of this illiberal values taking over. So, and I don't remember exactly what my logic was back then, but right now I'm a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot more aggressive. I feel like, against these kind of values and these type of people spreading. I am a lot more in support of harsher punishments for anything that supports anything that even supports in these ideas, just even a little bit. Like, I used to be a lot more pro-immigration than I am right now. I used to be a lot more, lenient when it comes to how to deal with how we have to deal with people, like, and again, I in the especially ever since the the support, the mass amount of support that people have had for the massacre of Jewish people in Israel, in Europe and North America, I don't know, I have had a major shift in my mindset since then.
Yeah.
So,
and let's be clear, they might be minors at the time, but a court of the Republic found them guilty of making false accusations, slanderous comments for the girl that lied, and the other adolescents were found guilty of taking part in a premeditated criminal conspiracy and helping to prepare an ambush. Those are crimes. Those are serious crimes.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think that the sentence that they were given was woefully inadequate. So the heaviest sentence was given to an adolescent who was formerly given a 6-month prison sentence, although he should be able to serve his time at home while under electronic surveillance. That's the heaviest sentence. The girl who was found guilty of making false accusations and slanderous comments was given a 18-month suspended sentence and put on probation measures for 2 years. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm an American and Americans have a very punitive idea of justice, and I understand that. But I'm like, no, throw the book at them. Like this is such a seminal case in the French consciousness that you need to set an example. And again, maybe I'm just being a psycho-American and we know how American justice is, but given the fact that there are literally educators still being murdered for doing their job for the sake of Islamist extremism, literally as of 6 weeks ago, this needs to be taken extremely seriously. And I will never get over the fact that his 5-year-old son has to grow up without a father because his father, again, was doing the job of teaching French citizens about the values that they're supposed to hold as a republic. And he has to know that he can go find images of his father's decapitated head on the sidewalk for the rest of his life. Intolerable.
All right. We have 9 more minutes to do the last news, so let's get through it really fast. And let's not do the article. Let's not do the article one. Yeah. All right. So this one we can clap, right?
Yes. Okay, guys, we have had a very serious show today, but you know what? You know who we can always depend on to bring back our hope in a humanity? And this might, because I'm biased, it's Iranians. Iranians consistently come forward as some of the most based people in the world. You know why? Because they love freedom, they fight for liberty, and no one has taught me what freedom means more than Iranians. And they do it in some of the most fun and creative ways. So let's get into it. Are you ready to clap?
Yes. All right. So next news.
The Islamic Republic hates joy. Iranians fight back with dancing. In defiance of the Islamic Republic's oppressive crackdown on dissent and joy, Iranians are using singing and dancing as a form of protest. The movement gained momentum after the arrest of Sadr Baghdadi, a fishmonger in his 60s who became an Instagram sensation for singing and dancing in the northern city of Rasht's Bazaar. The Iranian authorities not only imprisoned Baghdadi, but also targeted Instagram influencers who shared his videos, shutting down their accounts. In response, Iranians flooded social media with videos of themselves dancing in parks and streets expressing solidarity with Baghdadi. The deputy police commander claimed the videos violated public morals, even leading to shop closures. Many Iranians highlight the authorities' hypocrisy, questioning the focus on dance while neglecting other sexual scandals within their own morality enforcement officials. Remember that. I'll get back to that in a second because it's hilarious. A commentary in a reformist newspaper suggests a coordinated effort to exert control and dictate social norms through the suppression of ordinary Iranians. The dancing protest underscores the resilience of Iranians against the constraints imposed by the theocratic government. So, And by the way, I know I can't pronounce his name right. The Gre is really hard for me, okay? So, because, you know, Iran is famous for its gender apartheid against the entire female sex, but now they're cracking down on men dancing, okay? Put those shoulders away, those shaken shoulders away. You guys can't dance in public either. And this has gone absolutely viral. It's been flooding my Instagram for so long now. And so I was like, no, we have to talk about it because it's actually really fun and sweet. And the song is so catchy. But before we get into the videos, because I know we want to show those, I want to highlight that when people are talking about the hypocrisy, I want to provide a little background on this. So here we have a man in his 60s doing dances and singing to try to attract people to his shop in the bazaar, right? And it went viral. Okay. Meanwhile, while they're cracking down on this dude who's making people smile, literally also in the city of Rasht, some of you guys who watch the show will remember that not too long ago, within the past year, we had a series of sex scandals coming out of the morality police and the IRGC literally within the same city. Specifically, literally the official that is responsible for forcing hijab on women was caught on camera having gay sex with his own brother-in-law. Within the same city. Again, I will say this again. The morality police official in charge of forcing hijab on women was caught on camera having gay sex with his brother-in-law. And this is hilarious. Not because obviously we don't think there's anything wrong with being gay, but it's the hypocrisy because that's an offense that the Islamic Republic executes people for. Let's not forget that they hang people from a crane until they suffocate for having gay sex. But when it's their own officials, they turn the blind eye and actually say that it's the people exposing the sex scandal who are violating the Sharia law. Is anyone surprised? No. Complete hypocrisy? No. But I just thought that was kind of funny to highlight in this instance. So shall we see what went viral?
As you're speaking, I'm looking for videos of people trying to recreate this moment, and it is wild, okay? Because I have some examples to show you. But okay, so let me first show you the video that got the Islamic Republic upset. This is the original video, right?
Yeah.
And let me just...
It's so catchy. So I've had this song stuck in my head for so long.
This is what was illegal. This is what led to this man's arrest. They arrested him for this? Okay, okay, look at this.
And they deleted his account.
All right, so it keeps going. And guys, this is do you think which country arrests you for this? It's unbelievable, right? So the fact that he was arrested made this dance and this song go viral, right? So this is, you selected this one, or you deselected this one to show first. So these are some.
Once again, D for helping us find these.
Yeah, so this is a response everywhere. Like Iranian social media is filled with people recreating this dance as a response to the arrest, which again shows how weak the government of the Islamic Republic is. You know, when they try to stop something, they make it 100 times worse than what they initially intended. Wait. Oh, this is nice.
Oh, the remix is fire.
So actually, here's another interesting thing I found. IDF girls got into it as well. And this is officially posted by
the Israeli
IDF.
psyop never misses a beat.
Right, like no, this is seriously. It says با تشکر از مردم ایران برای حمایت و پشتیبانی گسترده ارتش اسرائیل برخلاف ارزش. Okay, so it's saying so the IDF posted this from IDF girls and thanking the Iranian people for their support and stuff. But let's see what this is. So the Israeli military here in Persian is thanking Iranian people for supporting the Israeli military, because Israel understands that a lot of Iranians supports them. But there was actually more Israeli girls dancing to this song. Israeli soldiers, female Israeli soldiers. Okay. So you can see they put the Israeli flag here and the Iranian flag with life, woman, freedom at the same time next to each other. All right, and wait, what is this? There's so many. And here, let me actually show you something. Somebody's saying this is going international. So in Africa, people are supporting as well.
No way.
Sadani boys. Sadani boys. Damet game.
Okay, they're saying. Okay, so they're saying Damet Gam. I think so. He says they mean Sadaq. They're trying to say his name. They're not saying his name properly, but it's close enough. They're saying Damet Gam, right? So like, good job. They're saying.
Sadani boys. Sadani boys. Damet game. Damet game. We love you. We love you.
Lexi, damn. Oh my god.
So yeah, this gone full on international.
The way they kiss his
there's so much more.
Is so cute.
Yeah, wait, there's so much more. Let me actually find one more here. I want to
scroll
show
down in the article. The last video that Dee included is, I think it's really good.
Wait, can I show this one before we get that one?
Oh yeah, sure.
All right, so let me go back to here. You said the last one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, and okay. Scroll forward to like the 10-second mark.
Okay.
Because it shows people like all around Iran doing the conversion.
Okay. What?
It's also so catchy. My favorite part was that because this happened in a bazaar, different bazaris across the country were doing their own version. And so they were like having a little bazaar competition. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan of Bandari music. So the Bandari version was actually my favorite. No offense to our Rashtis out there. But the Bandari music is just so good.
Yeah, this is becoming a trend, and everybody's putting their own signature on it. Like every neighborhood is putting oh, this is the way we do it. This is the way we do it. But don't you love the solidarity? Like you have an oppressive regime trying to remove joy from people's lives, and this is how people respond. This is so beautiful. I don't know.
Ivan is putting the lyrics in the chat. That's basically saying I'm Rashti, I'm very drunk, right?
Or Mahshti, I don't know if it's a good translation. I'm very cool. I'm very cool.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm very cool. Yes. All right, so by the way, Soha is reminding everybody to make sure to like the stream. And guys, today a lot of you like the stream. Oh my god, more than 160 people like the stream. We don't usually get this many likes on the stream, so thank you guys. This really does help us. You don't only, a lot of people are giving us super chat, which really helps us, by the way, to keep the channel alive, but also the people who are just liking, that's also very, very helpful. So thank you for that. But we're talking about super chats. Let's go through the super chats.
Yay. Thank you. Benny gave us a $10 super chat, said much love and support. Thank you. Also, Unicorn said, thank you, Susan Armin. The last segment is what we needed during these difficult times. Shalom and Darud to all. I almost said it in Persian. Darud. Okay. Oh, Mars. I love you, Mars. Saying keep kicking ass. So okay, let's see. Yeah, GJ is saying, wow, 150 likes during the stream. You love to see it. Make sure you make sure you subscribe, because the AR militia is growing every day. Our army is
171 now.
And also, I'm growing progressively unhinged, so stay tuned to watch.
Yeah. We're radicalizing Susie. Yeah. Thank
Erican
you,
gave us a super chat, and let's see what this is in regards to. Oh, this is in regards to the segment we did on France, saying French penal law is much more lenient. Precedents are only created at appeals level, and compounding sentences are much more exceptional than in the USA or the UK. Here's the thing. This is a little bit different than, because earlier I was talking about Europe's route in immigration right now. What people fail to realize is because here in America with our penal system, people tend to fetishize the Scandinavian penal system because they're like, look at theirs is so much better, blah blah blah. What people don't realize is that countries like Sweden, for example, are having to radically overhaul their penal system right now, and it's becoming way more punitive than it used to be because they cannot get a handle on the gang situation there. Which, by the way, when I was learning about Swedish gang wars, I didn't realize that kids were running around literally with grenades and exploding bombs and thermoses at people. Kids. I didn't know that there was an aspect of kids with hand grenades going on in these gang wars in Sweden. So anyways, needless to say, that we can fetishize these welfare systems and the penal system in these Scandinavian countries. But things are changing rapidly because they're having to deal with a rule of law situation. Anyways, Asian American is saying, I'm slowly changing my opinion on Singaporean ethnic quotas per apartment block. You know what, Asian American? I kind of agree. I kind of agree, especially when I was learning more about the measures that Denmark is doing to forcibly integrate their population. As someone who is generally extremely wary of government intervention, especially on this level and in this form, it might literally be the right thing to do in this sense. Because I don't know if, you can argue that leaving things the way that they are is actually not necessarily humane. Asian American also said, are we gonna be pro brain implants and slowly changing their violent thoughts and brain scans to verify these changes? I don't know who you're referring to here.
No. They're talking about Minority Report version. No. That's too much involvement.
Christ,
of course not. No, yeah. Okay.
That would be a no thank you. And
but thank you for the super chat.
Saying, Armin, do you really believe that 50 or 100 per month members won't sign up again, either as 25 or 66.6 a month? Also, $10 tier would help. There would be a fair share of people that don't even realize they got kicked off.
Yes, people don't even notice that. It's hard because YouTube doesn't even let us find ways to reach them. So yeah, probably it's hard to get them back.
Yeah.
But I just also want to mention, guys, I can confirm that this stream has been demonetized because me and Susie have been naughty and saying naughty words.
I'm sorry.
So yours, that's okay. No, that's fine. But I'm just saying this is why your super chats really, really helps us because most of our streams, and again, even when you file for an appeal and then YouTube gives you your monetization back, the first 24 hours is the time that you get most of the viewers. So by the time you get your monetization back, you have completely lost the main wave of the initial audience. That's why these super chats basically are saving us, and because we can't really rely on the monetary. Thank you.
Trells is saying, thank you first of all for the super chats, Trells. And by the way, Trells, I'd be very curious about your opinions as a Dane regarding the things we talked about, particularly how they're have plans to force integration. Saying, for amusement, in the commentary of the Quran, the non-binding legal advice of the courts on how to apply it, in which it is not part of the legal provision, it says it shouldn't apply if the act is a small part of a larger artistical work. So what did Ramses Paludan do? He created a theatrical group. Ramses Paludan is one of the most prolific Quran burners in Denmark and Sweden.
Right.
He is actually far right and a bigot, though, to be honest. But you know what?
Right, yeah. What if I dance while I'm turning up the Quran? Like, can I just would that help? Would that?
I know. I think it probably has to be part of a larger theatrical work. So like in the US, there's certain states where you're not allowed to smoke inside, but if the smoking is part of a theatrical production, then you can smoke inside. So there's like comedians that smoke on stage because they're like part of a theatrical group. GJ is saying, when was the stream demonetized? Just now?
During the stream, I don't know at what point during the stream, but at some point during the stream, we were demonetized. Yeah.
Probably when I dropped my Hamas meme.
I already filed an appeal. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Armin. I actually feel bad.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. Usually we win the appeal, but it happens too late. Don't worry about it. Like half of the streams get demonetized. Like the streams that I do without you also half of them get demonetized.
This is what happens when Susanna gets a little too fast and loose, guys.
No. Please do not hold back. Okay, we want the unleashed version of Susie. Okay, it's fine, guys. Your super chats makes us able to get the unleashed. Yes, we want the unleashed version of Susie. So that's why what your super chats are doing. It makes us worry less about the monetization of the channel, so Susie could just put it all out there. You know what, Nick? Let's mention the Holocaust from now on because we're gonna demonetize. Like we try so hard not to get demonetized, and we get demonetized anyway. So let's just use the words say Nazis and Holocaust because it's so hard to dance around them anyways, right?
And if you're watching the stream later, you can help us out by giving us the little thanks or the donate. The donate is very nice because we get all of the fees covered because we're a nonprofit.
Yes.
And that will appear when the stream is over, guys. So just putting it out there. Thank you for everyone that supports us.
Oh, we got another super chat. GJ saying,
oh, thank you, GJ.
Does that affect? Yes, saying, does that affect following streams as well? No, it's one stream at a time. The channel is not demonetized. The stream, this one specific stream was demonetized.
Yes. Zayd is saying we need to see Susanna after she's had a couple of drinks. Okay, well,
no,
that's something my boyfriend has to put up with.
All right, guys, we should end the stream. We are already over time. We're 14 minutes over time. We're trying to keep the streams under 2 hours because more people end up watching it if we keep it under 2 hours, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Super Susanna, that's fantastic. Super, she's going Super Susanna. Yeah, I love that. Okay. All right, guys, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you're subscribed and subscribing is not good enough. Hit the bell notification, especially for channels that go live. The bell notification is important because subscribing is for channels that like just put videos out there and you just want to see that in your feed. But when channels that go live often, you want to be there when they are live as well. So hitting the bell notification lets you know when the channel is live so you could be present while we are live. So make sure you hit the bell notification, like the stream, and also if you really want to help us, make sure when the stream is over, leave a comment under the video. The comments have, I think that's one of the main reasons why our channel is growing so much is because of you people leaving comments after the stream is over under the videos. And also, please recommend our channel to people. Tell people that we have the most amazing takes here on Atheist Republic, and they should come and check our channel, subscribe to it, and hit the bell notification. Share this video. All of this help, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us grow. So thank you so much to everybody who's doing that. All right, bye.